How's it going, everybody? How's it going, everybody? This is Deonte Burden, host of Change Your Lives. Just want to do a quick live stream in regards to just a conversation I was having earlier with somebody. They were talking about their child is graduating from high school this year, and they were just looking at the different schools that they applied for, and all of a sudden now they're looking at the actual cost that associated with attending those particular schools, and they're trying to figure out how they're gonna pay for it. And what I want to have a discussion this afternoon in regard is education worth the cost. Because I've had several conversations with several people that will say, especially with everything going on with the student loans and everything, people are saying that it's not worth it to go acquire a student loan. The risk reward, the cost to acquire that loan is not worth it in relation to future opportunities that a kid may have. And not necessarily even just limited to children, being students, also just as parents or as adults when we go back to school to get certain certifications or get certain uh, technical skills or whatever, is the cost worth it? So that's why I want to have like an open discussion in regards of. I want everybody, feel free to chime in. I'm streaming live right now on Facebook and also on YouTube as well on the Change Your Lives. You guys on Change Your Lives, we talk about more personal issues. I rebranded everything December 2020. We were talking mostly about personal development, motivation, and professional development. I've kind of rebranded everything where we're still doing the motivational stuff, but doing more so relationships in terms of man, woman, parent, child, just regular human interactions and everything. So I just want to kind of remove that, out of the what we were just talking about, some of the more professional development stuff. I'm still going to have those information coming out, but I want to just kind of dive more into what my talents lie a little bit better in regards to helping people out. So again, today I just want to have a discussion in regards to, is education worth the cost? I've had several conversations. Again, we're talking to different people in regards to their views on going to college and everything. I always say when I look at education, I never look at education as something that's being formal. Like if you go into a certain college or university, I look at education as more so you enlighten yourself. I think that people have slanted views, and it's just my opinion. People have slanted views in regards to education from personal experience. And what I mean by that is some people look at it and say, okay, because I grew up in a household like that. My grandparents, I love them to death, has raised me. They would always say, school ain't meant for everybody, have different reasons. And I think it had a lot to do because how far they went in school. It's kind of like a defense mechanism or way to kind of deflect certain things from themselves. But they will always say that same thing. School ain't for everybody. School ain't for everybody. And they were, great people. They raised, a great family. But it was just high on the hog when I decided to go in the military. I was supposed to be going to college. And they just, I believe a lot of their views were from exposure, probably certain things that they hadn't done or hadn't experienced, just come up with opinion. But I think when I hear a lot of people make certain assumptions about school, a lot of it to do with certain transgressions or experience or lack thereof they may have. You have people that sometimes make opinions. In my opinion, now, in regards to school isn't needed because they look at the actual high cost of student loans, and just saying that hey, for the amount of money the debt you're going to go in to go to college, it isn't worth it for opportunities that may be around. Also, you have people that have went to college, that have went and got educated, and they have the same opinion. Like, it isn't making any sense to do this. I just probably would have got me a job or got a skill for doing it. And my whole opinion there, because I'm all about, go get your education and everything, because I have my viewpoint is you're either going to pay for your education on the front end, you're going to pay on the back end. The back end, paying somebody with that education to do certain things for you. I believe personally, most people aren't really so gung-ho about going to college, and they kind of deflect some of them ideas on their kids is because a lot of times people think that because they go to school, they should get certain things. And what I mean by that is that they go to school, acquire the cost to get this education, get the degree, they expect the actual opportunity just be in front of them. And that's not how the world works. The way I always tell you guys is that You have what you went to school for, and then you have the actual opportunities that are out there. Now, while you're in school or while you're picking your degree, you need to be very, very diligent in looking at what are the opportunities out there. If you want to actually be this chemical engineer, or if you want to be working in biotech, or just plans of just dealing with something for space travel, or even just say agricultural, you know the opportunities are going to be limited if you want to just live in the city. Especially when we're talking about agricultural, marine, or anything like that. So you got to be realistic in regards to what you're going to school for. Now, 17 or 18, you might not know any better and everything. I don't know what to tell you. That's why parents, I think you need to be very, very involved. If you don't have a parent that's involved with it, unfortunately, I couldn't give a definite solution. I would say, as a young student, if you don't have that, be very diligent with talking to your career counselors at school. But I believe a lot of times people have slanted views because things didn't work out for them when they got out of school. They went to school for one thing, and because they may have been pressed to actually start working, to start paying off their student loans, or they couldn't find opportunities in what they went to school for, they have this view about education, like why it isn't worth it, school isn't, and I hear this kind of thing. I'm like, look, you went to school for something, and because the opportunities weren't right there in front of you at school, now you're a little bitter. Now, if they're not right there, you might have to move, you might have to relocate. But again, I made the video about that before. Why your child couldn't get a job at the college, and I kind of broke it down in regards to whatever they're looking at as far as their major. They need to be very proactive from the entering. Before going to college and applying, even entering college, looking how the actual career path they're going to take from the moment they begin. If they're going to start internships, they're going to start reaching out and everything from freshman year. Okay, because my oldest son, he played football at Vanderbilt and graduated from up there. He's on a better track now. He's doing fine. He's graduated, but I'm laughing because there were some kids walking across the stage. They were already getting ready to go work for IBM, Coca-Cola, GE, and those were the kids that were very, very proactive during college, making relationships. And once it was time to walk across the stage, they had everything hemmed up. Do you have kids that are very, very active from the beginning, with trying to find employment, after college and stuff, and it doesn't work out? I'm sure it is. And I'm also sure there are a lot of kids who are from families that are connected that can help them, find a job, and be employed upon graduation. I get it. But if you don't have it, you just don't have it. So usually you bring it up, because that's the deal. Just live in a shed. That can be applied to any job if you go to college or not. It's all about it's not what you know, it's who you know. And people use that as an excuse. So I always tell people, go get some more who's. If you don't know anybody, go get some who's. And a lot of times people just want to be stuck on what they don't know instead of being uncomfortable and finding more people to help them on their journey or their career path. So I just want to have that conversation in regards to is education worth the cost? Because on the front end, I just don't believe a lot of people, that being the students, the parents, or just even just a regular adult, do enough investigation on the front end to see it. Because we all know at the end of the day, the actual big picture wise, earnings you can make if you're educated. When I say educated too, I don't want to get it locked in. We're talking about former college, university. If you actually go to technical school, get some kind of certification, electrician or plumber, carpenter, it doesn't matter. HVAC, it doesn't matter. You just get some kind of secondary education to help your skill, help you with a skill set that you can make more earnings, as an adult. I'm very big on that, because what history has shown us, that the less skills that you do have, the more dependent you're going to be on other people making decisions for you. Okay. So if you actually go into the job market, you apply, and there's nothing wrong. I'm not trying to demean anybody or devalue anybody, anything like that. But if you're going to be in a situation where you're always going to be applying and you're always going to be asking, you're at pretty much, the will of somebody's going to give you opportunity or not. But if you have more and more skill sets you can bring to the table, you can do this, you can do this, you have experience with that, you bring more value to yourself, and you're more attractive to potential employees. You also more attractive to somebody who want to pay you more money. But if you just come to the table with, a good work ethic and a great story, I mean, there's a lot of you out there like that. Okay. The pool starts getting narrower when we start adding those particular skill sets and experiences to a person. So we start looking at, just education. I've heard too many stories in regard to people that uh, have negative opinions about getting educated, for whatever reason. A lot of it got to do with the cost. Now, I will say this too. We start looking at the cost of certain schools. I'm a big proponent. You talk to a father of 4 sons. I always say if you want to have a school that costs $20,000 a year and another school that costs $60,000 a year, is the cost of that education, the weight of that degree, worth it? Now that's a whole nother conversation. Now, if you know that potentially you can make better connections at this school that's more expensive, I get it, but you got to kind of explain that to me, because again, if you had this school that's a lot less more inexpensive, could you transition and be able to make the same connections from there? It's possible. It's possible. But I do think those are kind of hard questions you need to ask yourself, because outside of that, I think people actually are on the assumption, but that as an employer, if you say you went to this school or if you went to that school, the employer is more inclined to hire you. And I think a lot of times it really comes down to qualifications. The more expensive school usually warrants a better alumni pool. When I say better, I'm talking about in terms of they should maybe have bigger connections, expanded, channels that they can kind of help you out. But again, if you're not being aggressive from your freshman year, trying to meet people and stuff and network, it doesn't make a difference anyway. So that's typically to me the benefit of going to a school that costs a little bit more money. The actual connection base and the networking basis is probably a little bit better. You probably got a few more opportunities with going that route. But if the accreditation of the schools are still the kind of the same, and you're not one of those people that's going to be aggressive in networking, again, we got to be honest with ourselves. There's no use of trying to say, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to fix that. If you're not one of those type of people to be, stepping up and talking to folks and doing that, you're not comfortable doing it, don't put yourself in a situation like that where you're paying an extra $30,000, $40,000 in tuition because you want to be there and say you went there, and it's not going to benefit you big, big picture wise. That's kind of like my philosophy in regards to, I hear parents, and again, it's just my personal opinion, where they'll say, okay, I want to send my kids to private school as opposed to public school. So if you, and this is a Deonte Burden opinion, if you pay the money for your child to go to private school, in my opinion, because of the weight of the education, the end result should be a higher tier college. I cannot see that. It makes no sense to me that if your child ends up going to the same college that the child with a public school goes to, it doesn't make any difference. The end game is still the end game. They still went to the same school. But if your child went to the private, you paid to go to private school, then they end up going to an Ivy League university, I get it. If they go into an elite school, I get it. But if they're going to the regular public university that everybody else is going into, it makes no damn sense to me. Again, some people say I might want to give them better foundation and all that kind of stuff. I get it. But that doesn't make sense to me. We talking about the grand scheme of things, especially when you're looking at, you have those additional, just tuition costs or just life experience if it's not covered or anything. But I'm all about being practical when we start talking about certain I think it's good to get educated. Again, we're talking about second college, post-college, technical school, whatever. I think it's very, very important to get some skills, get some training. I think it's very, very important, to do that. But I don't think it makes sense to pay a higher cost depending on the school if you're not going to take advantage of the things that the more important school is going to give you. Like I said, most times, the most important school, the more expensive school, I apologize, the more expensive school is going to give you. A lot of times, you do have, better facilities and certain things at the more expensive school. But if you're not going to take advantage of it, it's kind of like a moot point. And I don't think a lot of people are going to take advantage of if you're not in if you're not naturally one of those type of people to do that. You see if anybody's in the chat. Nobody's came in the chat, and but I just want to kind of have that open discussion with everybody today in regards to that, because that's one of the things that I've had. A lot of people right now, they're trying to narrow it down in regards to going to college and what school they're going to go to, and everything. And most kids are just kids all over the board. Well, my friends are going there, so I want to go there. It looks fun. It looks hype. This school has this kind of program. This school has that kind of program, and they're right. They're right. They do have those programs. But are you going to be the person upon graduation that's going to be aggressive to reap the rewards of that program? There are a lot of people that were, and it's kind of like the study I read, and I apologize, I don't like kind of referencing things, and I can't tell you the exact source, but you have a lot of people that were valedictorian and salutatorian. They're not necessarily wealthy people. It's not because they're lazy, it's because they're smart. They know how to do work, but as far as there are certain intangibles and requiring wealth and starting businesses and that aren't necessarily taught in a formal setting, like school or something. And when you go to school, you're going to get educated, and you can exceed as a student. But that doesn't, I don't necessarily know if aggression, resiliency, that's not taught at school. It's kind of in you. So if you start, you come with your good grades, you got your degree, you start applying for a couple of jobs, and it doesn't work, and now you got your head down, I don't necessarily know if, biology 4000 is going to fix that. It's going to be hard one-on-one. And if you're not kind of built a certain way to handle rejection, to handle setbacks and stuff like that, I don't care where you go to school, you're going to have an issue. I mean, you're going to have an issue with that if you go to school or not. And I think that's probably the majority of people that walk around here today. Most people do not like rejection. And I think that's human. I don't think any person is cool with getting rejected. I think what separates is how people handle rejection, how people bounce back. And I think that's the biggest difference with most people in regards to how they do that. And I think that's something that parents, children, adults really need to kind of be focusing on. How am I going to plan myself if this doesn't work? How I'm going to handle that? If these certain things don't fall into place, what's my, phase 2, plan B or whatever. I think that's more important than having this old traditional scope, like, hey, if this is the better school, I can get this. You just kind of assume because you went here, IBM is going to hire you, because those schools have certain, and again, to be the kind of student to qualify to a top tier school, you got to have a certain kind of demeanor, certain kind of skill set to be able to qualify for, and I get that. But again, we start going into actually the quote unquote real world as opposed to the academic world. There are still a couple other skill sets and tangibles I just brought up in regards to your will, your resiliency, and everything, fear, and non-fear, courage. Those kind of things aren't necessarily taught in school. And people that have them kind of be a little bit more successful than people that don't. Because some people may want to control their fate. Some people may want more so security. That's not taught in school. It's kind of like really what you're comfortable with. And depending on what career path you have, if you choose a secure career path, or you choose one that's maybe a little bit more daring, taking chances, nothing right or wrong with either one, but you got to be realistic about what you're doing. Okay. So again, I think all this comes into place in regard to just, the cost of the education. The availability of opportunities for that particular degree, the weight or cost of that particular degree at a particular school, or even attending a certain school. All the stuff need to be taken into consideration. And what kind of person your child is, you are upon graduation. Are you going to be the type of person that's going to seek certain opportunities? I think a lot of people are in the career path they are right now because they are the way they are. They are not aggressive people. They are expecting people. That doesn't mean they are entitled, but they don't understand that, you're not going to squeak wheel don't get an oil. And I always remember one of my football coaches, he's always tell us, po dog don't take a whooping at home. And he's always just say that in returns to just when people don't stand for what they feel like they deserve, people take it from you. People take it from you. And if you don't seize opportunities, you don't seize certain thing that you believe are yours, you're gonna miss out on it. And I think that's what happened to far too many people. So I just want to have a discussion with you guys. Again, this is Deonte Burden, host of Change Your Lives. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Change Your Lives. Make sure you hit that blue man in the bottom right-hand corner. Stay abreast of all the information we got. If you come in later, feel free to leave comments or anything on the video and stuff. Change Your Lives comes on every Thursday at 8 p.m. Every other Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have another YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar. We'll talk about personal finance, business, and entrepreneurship. That's going to be on this week. So Change Your Lives be back next week. I look forward to having a discussion with you guys. But again, feel free to chime in, leave your feedback and stuff if you didn't catch us on the live. You can catch Change Your Lives on Facebook, TikTok. Catch me on Deonte_77 on Instagram, and also Change Your Lives on YouTube. Change Your Lives hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. Thanks for all the love and support, you guys. You got any questions, need anything else, just feel free to reach out to me later. I'm going to contact you information and listen in the descriptions below this video. And I look forward to giving you some more information later. Take care.